How'd you get 30 Rock? How did that come about?
Yeah, 30 Rock.
You're working all the clubs. You're getting.
You know, work took me out to LA for about 2 years or so.
So you moved to LA for 2 years, about?
Yeah, about 2 years.
About when was that?
That was, I'll tell you, I first started renting an apartment in LA in 2000.
Yeah.
I got cast in a movie that starred Eddie Murphy and Robert De Niro called Showtime. Oh. So I started living out there. And then, so I lived in both. I had a cheap apartment out here in Brooklyn, and I had a cheap one in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it just wasn't, I had to move apartments in New York, and it just financially wasn't right. And then my apartment got flooded in New York, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll just go to LA. I got an apartment. I just moved back to New York.
Uh-huh.
I kind of had avoided, you know, at this point, you know, I'm making a living doing stand-up, and I'm doing TV and film stuff here and there. And, you know, I was doing about 3 movies a year or so. And that's anywhere from 1 to 2 days work to 2 to 4 weeks work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I was making a living doing that. And I was happy doing that. And I had turned down lots of sitcom auditions over the years because I just thought they were so bad and so unfunny.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't do it. You know, I remember a couple times I had the callbacks to go in on sitcoms. When you go in for the callback, this is where you do the test, or the screen test or whatever for the producers and the networks.
Mm-hmm.
They actually make you sign a 6-year contract before your final audition. You haven't even been offered the show yet, and they make you sign a 6-year contract. So you don't know who you're working with. You don't know who the other cast members are. And you've only seen the pilot script. That's it. And if the pilot script sucks, chances are the other scripts are going to suck too. You could be doing that for 6 years. And the thought of that gives me like a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I could imagine.
So
is that even legal? It's like indentured servitude.
That's the way they do it.
That's how they do it? That's how they always done it?
Yeah, that's the way they
crazy.
do it. You know,
I never knew
and
that.
So
there's always options in there if they could tie them up.
Oh, yeah. And that's the other thing I've learned is that they have the power. Whoever has the more money has the more power. So they can always alter your contract to however they want to, but you can't alter it for how you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got the power. So anyway, I was turning down lots of those, and then 30 Rock audition comes up, and I was like, I knew Tina Fey. You know, I knew her like from, you know, Saturday Night Live. She was the writer, and she would do the news, and I had seen I hadn't seen the whole movie, but I'd seen part of the teen movie she did, Mean Girls, and that was good. And I was like, all right, I'm like, this lady's quality. She does good stuff. It's in New York. And I think Alec Baldwin had just gotten a cast to it. I'm like, he's awesome. I love Alec Baldwin. And it's in New York. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. This is worth going in on.
But the audition was in L.A.
No, it was in New York. I just moved back to New York.
Oh, you just moved back.
I just moved back to New York. The audition was in New York. And at the same time this was going on, there was an audition for Aaron Sorkin's new show called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which was an hour drama, same exact subject as 30 Rock. It was a 1-hour dramatic look at the behind the scenes of a Saturday Night Live type show.
Wow.
And Tina's was the behind the scenes look at a Saturday Night Live type show, except it was a half-hour comedy. And at that point, no one in the business, agents, managers, studios, none of them gave a shit about 30 Rock. They all thought it was nothing. They all thought Studio 60 was going to be the big hit because the writer-producer of that had just done The West Wing, and that was a huge hit. And this was going to be like the biggest show ever. And I actually I didn't even want to audition for it. I remember my agent was like, look, you can go in with Dean Edwards, because I think the agents repped him too, and you guys can go and read together. I'm like, Dean's a nice guy. I know Dean, because he was auditioning for another part.
And who were your agents at the time? Who was that?
Gersh. So I go in there. We go in there. It goes pretty well. I didn't want to do it. And if I got that show, I'd have to move back to L.A. I don't want to live in L.A. New York's my home. I like living in New York.